Hi, everybody. Welcome back to 4AR People. My name is Aliah, and we have come to the end, everybody. We have come to the end. Legislative session is coming to an end, and this video is going to be talking about some of the biggest fails from the Arkansas legislative session of 2025. Now, the thing about this is, during this whole legislative session, it's been going on since January. There has been some damage done. Let's be clear about that. There has been some damage done. There have been some horrible laws that will go into effect either this year or next year, and that is disheartening. But there are some bills that were just so horrible that they couldn't even make it out of committee or the House floor or the Senate floor. And we're going to talk about those. We're going to find a bright side of this. But obviously, with the horrible stuff, we will be keeping track of it as it becomes law and how it's being enforced and everything. So stay tuned for that. And we're also going to have to figure out this whole YouTube thing. It's like, what am I going to make videos on now that the legislative session is over? Just kidding. We live in Arkansas. There's always something to talk about. So anyway, let's get into this video of the biggest fails of the Arkansas legislative session 2025. Let's go. All right, so the first bill I want to talk about, and probably the most embarrassing, just because it was in committee multiple times and couldn't make it out of committee multiple times, and also just like silly, is the Baby Aliah Act, the House Bill 1180, Representative Mary Bentley's whole the Baby Aliah Act to show the Meet Baby Aliah video in classrooms. So, if you recall, this bill failed in the Senate committee multiple times. I believe 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just embarrassing because it's like, dang, you really tried so hard. Bless her heart. Yeah, so my first one is going to be the Meet Baby Aliah Act. Thank you to the Senate committee and all the medical professionals and all the people from the public who showed up to speak out against this bill, because it just doesn't make sense. Like I said in my original video on this bill, it doesn't make sense because there's no comprehensive sex education in the state of Arkansas. And let's remember, you're teaching things in a way that's backwards. And so it just doesn't make sense. And I'm so glad this one failed and ended up on the deferred list. So let's move on to the next one. All right, so the next big fail, and probably my personal favorite, just because Senator Sullivan has done some damage this legislative session, but he couldn't do damage with this one. Senate Bill 536, which was an act to abolish the Arkansas State Library, to abolish the State Library Board, to transfer certain powers and duties of the Arkansas State Library to the Department of Education and the Arkansas State Archives, to declare an emergency and for other purposes. So let me be clear when I say this was a bad bill. This was a very bad bill. He's made a point to target libraries and specifically target the State Library Board. So I'm glad this one didn't make it out of committee. And yeah, this one failed. And everyone was happy about it. So yeah, this was a bad bill. Basically what it would have done is transfer the Arkansas State Library Board under the purview of the Arkansas Department of Education. And there was just like a lot of reasons why this was bad. Just like because libraries are already a target of the state and even like the counties, like the county quorum board. It's like leave libraries alone is my first thought. But then also it's like libraries serve as a resource for so many things, whether that's for like Wi-Fi or childcare or just like resources for the community. It's like leave libraries alone. They're so important. And the reason people come for libraries in the state of Arkansas is because they don't like the kind of books that these libraries hold. And that's ridiculous. It's like freedom of information, not freedom of information, but freedom of speech, and the ability to write any book that you want without it being banned from the public library. It's like, I don't know. So I'm glad this failed. I'm not sorry to that man. But I would like to add there was also another bill. It was SB 240 that literally fired everyone from the Arkansas Library Board and allows the governor to appoint her own people. That was filed in response to this, and I think that did make it through through the processes. So that is a horrible bill also. So the library board's still at stake, but at least Dan Sullivan doesn't get the credit, I guess is what I'm saying. So let's move on to the next bill. All right, this one is the more recent fail, actually. The day I'm recording this is the day that this failed. So SB 569, which targets the direct democracy process, the ballot initiative process. It is an amendment to Arkansas Constitution, Article 5, Section 1, to require that the ballot title of a proposed measure be readable, clear, and concise and not exceed 500 words, to amend the Arkansas Constitution under the authority of Arkansas Constitution, Article 5, Section 1, and for other purposes. This, very, very much limits, ballot initiatives and things like that, and, which if you recall, Senator Kim Hammer, early on in the legislative session, proposed tons of bills that aim at the signature collection portion of the ballot initiative process, and very much limited what citizens can do and how they can collect signatures and everything like that. And those did pass, and those are going to be law. A lot of those are going to be law, and this one did not pass. So I'm glad this one did not pass. The sponsors were Mark Johnson and then Representative Ray. And these did not pass on the House floor. Thank the Lord. This one did not pass on the House floor. But our ballot initiative process is definitely severely limited now. And it's going to be so hard, which it already was hard. It's going to be 10 times harder to get anything on the ballot as citizens already as it is. But on the bright side, Senate Bill 569 failed on the House floor. So there's that. But we'll keep y'all updated on that ballot initiative process, because it has been severely gutted by Senator Kim Hammer, who is running for Secretary of State. So, yeah, let's move on. All right, another fail was House Bill 1668, also by Representative Bentley. It was an act to create the Vulnerable Youth Protection Act to authorize a civil action for social transitioning and castration, sterilization, or mutilation of a minor and for other purposes. We talked about this bill on another YouTube video, but this bill actually is very embarrassing, because Representative Bentley had to withdraw this bill because when it was being heard in committee, the Attorney General's office, a representative from the Attorney General's office showed up and was like, hey, actually, we cannot defend this in court because it is probably unconstitutional. We cannot defend this in court. We do not feel comfortable. So Mary Bentley withdrew it. And that was very embarrassing. And also, this bill is horrible. It's an anti-trans bill, anti-social transitioning bill. And it aims to control the actions of others in regards to someone else's transition. So it's like giving someone a haircut, or using their preferred pronouns, or anything like that validates someone's identity. And you just can't do that. You just can't do that. So that was very funny to watch. And it's Representative Bentley, leave trans kids alone. Leave them alone. And yeah, that's 2 L's for Mary Bentley, if we're counting. That's 2 major L's for Mary Bentley. Couldn't get 2 horrible bills out of committee. So if anyone's counting, Mary Bentley's down 2. And, I can't with this, because what do you mean? What do you mean we can't call somebody by their preferred pronouns? What do you mean that offends you that I call somebody by their preferred pronouns, or and it's also for parents. It's how dare you tell parents what they can and can't do with their own children within reason, obviously. It's if my child wants a haircut, I'm gonna take my child to get a haircut. I personally don't have children, but if you're a mom out there, if you're a father or you're a parent out there, let me know in the comments of, I guess, what do you think about this? What do you think about the government telling you what you can and cannot provide for your child, and what you can and cannot call your child? Let me know. I'm interested. All right, moving on. All right, our last and our probably the biggest L taken this whole legislative session, and it does truly bring me joy to share this with you, is going to have to be Senate Bill 354, which was Governor Sarah Sanders, Huckabee Sanders, biggest, or her prison appropriation bill for $750 million. The prison appropriation bill in Franklin County that nobody wants, that was sneaky, that they weren't answering questions. Remember, the secret prison, the secret solitary. This bill did not only fail on the floor once, it didn't fail on the floor twice. It didn't even fail on the floor 3 times. It failed upwards of 5 times on the Senate floor. Just a round of applause for the senators who know better. Thank you. Thank you so much. That being said, seems like the governor is going to get this money one way or the other, but this is a very delightful delay. Seems like she's going to get the money one way or the other, whether that be a special session or she's going to do small little appropriations along the way. But for now, she does not have the money to build this prison. So thank you to the senators who voted no on this. We appreciate you. And it makes me happy. So, all right, let's move on. I know this video was about like biggest fails, but I do want to note like 2 bills that like kind of made its way through that we haven't really talked about that are actually pretty good. They're like really good. That will be, so I want to talk about House Bill 1965 from Representative Tippy McCullough, and also the Senate sponsor was Kim Hammer. I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. But this was an act to create the Arkansas Healthy Food Retail Act of 2025 to provide financial incentives for healthy food retailers in underserved communities and for other purposes. This does a lot to help with the food insecurity problem we have in the state of Arkansas. So I just wanted to shout that out. That is a win. That is a major win. So thank you, Representative McCullough, and even thank you, Senator Hammer. So that hurt me to say, but you got to give the flowers where the flowers are due. You know what I'm saying? And then another one I just want to talk about is Senate Bill 241, an act to amend the Uniform Attendance and Leave Policy Act to grant paid leave to public employees in the event of the death of a public employee's family member or child and for other purposes. This is from Senator Scott and Representative Pilkington. Thank you. This basically gives paid leave to public employees who have lost someone, give them time to grieve. And yeah, thank you for that. That's also a really good one. All right, and then lastly, the major big win coming out of this session was SB 59, which is now law. The governor signed it into law. It is an act to provide each public school student with 1 breakfast at no cost during each school day upon his or her request, without consideration of the public school student's eligibility for a federally funded free or reduced price meal, to declare an emergency and for other purposes. This was a bipartisan effort. This is great. It also helps combat food insecurity in the state of Arkansas. Free breakfast for public school students all across the state. So this was really good. One of the biggest wins probably this far in the session. So as I said, session's ending, but this happened a little bit earlier on. So super happy about this. And yeah, that is a really good one. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. It has been real. This legislative session has been hard on everybody. So make sure you're taking care of yourself and make sure you're taking a little break before other things start to happen. But yeah, thank you so much for sticking with us. Thank you so much for like uplifting our content, letting us know what you think, sending all your messages, your kind messages and comments and likes. And thank you for all of that. I hope to continue these YouTube videos even though legislative session isn't going on. So check out next week to see what we turn this into. But it's been so real. It's been so fun. Make sure you follow us on all of our platforms to catch up on things that maybe you missed throughout the week or catch up on what's going on in the state of Arkansas, because we are 4AR people. That is Arkansas. That is you. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. All those buttons are there somewhere. And even turn your notifications on to see when our next video is uploaded. So thank you. It's been so real. My name is Aliah, and this was your Arkansas 2025 legislative session. Thank you. Bye.